In the last video I showed you how to uh, use the pen tool to create the different paths and the different routes. And an important part is to keep track of things and to keep things ordered. As you can see, already with a fairly simple document, there's a lot of different objects within this layers panel. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this, and if I'm clicking right here where that red box is right now, and I hold Shift, I can actually select numerous different objects. And so I've got that path and then these different ellipses. And what I'm going to do is actually right click here, and I'm going to group these together. Now I also can see that there's also an option over here in my quick actions. I can also group over here as well. And now I have a group, and so it's kind of like another layer within the layer. And what that's going to do for me is it's actually going to make things easier, because if I want to move this group on top of another one, I can move it up, and there I go. Otherwise, I would have to select all those objects and move them up individually at a time. It also allows me to turn that entire thing off or turn it on right at the same time. Those are options I have. And then the next step really is to just continue on with those lines, and I'm just going to use my pen tool real quick to create this. And I'm gonna try to make this line right here, and if you remember from the last video, if I select an object and I select that pen tool, the properties stay the same. So it's really, I've got that same outline color. Whoops, still selected, so I'm gonna undo that. But I'm going to now start drawing my lines here. And you'll see it starts filling in. I think I can get away with going and using this all the way. I think that's the end of my line right there. So what I'm going to do is actually kind of fix it at the end. I'm going to make sure that part is selected, not the other ones. Again, I've got that path. It is by default all the way up here. I can move that down to these ones. I can also, of course, hold Shift and select here from the panel. I can also select over here as well, and group those together. And even within the group, obviously I want to have my path kind of show up underneath those other objects, so then it looks kind of seamless to be able to see the route, and it looks like those circles kind of match in with those route lines as well. One last one to do. There might be a little bit, it looks like there's going to be just a little bit of crossover. I'm going to get slightly creative with the location, mostly so that I can have a straight vertical line right here. I've got my smart guide that showed up, that purple line right there. And so again, that's selected. Start making my lines. And you can see how relatively simple actually making this actually is working out. And let's see. So I'm going to exit that pen tool and make it so I can actually see, but then it's very simple. Continue with that slash. And I'm actually going to keep this one going even further south like so, because generally with the West Seattle Bridge all closed, it is going to, that's just the path one needs to take. There we go. And so I'm going to just quickly finish up that line. It is a long path, and again, I want to take that path and move it below the other objects, but I also want to select those objects as well, and then from there group those together. So now it looks fairly simple. I've got 3 groups of those different objects, I can actually change these. So I've got my yellow line on top, and I might actually move that down. I want to see the yellow line show up underneath my red and green here, and so on. So I've got that, and then that's all good. Can lock it. I'm going to take a look and see what this looks like. Oh, there we go. That is my very simple train line right there. Shows up some different parts of my biography. And the next step is going to be to actually add text so that I can show where each one of those stations is and tell you which one each one is. So that's the next step. I'll show you text in this next video.